Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Archie's Briefings. I'm your host, Arshel Branch, and today, you guys, we are going to be talking about a debate about tariffs, the economy, finances, particularly as it relates to taxes. And this debate is between destiny. It is between a liberal and a conservative talking about tariffs, taxes. We're not going to look at the whole debate. It is over 2 hours long. I will link that debate in the description box if you guys are interested. I was quite fascinated by this. I'm kind of inclined to believe this happened before the election because it seems to me that Destiny seems to have his wits about him. He doesn't seem like he's just angry, which has been the case after the election. He's just been angry, hating on everybody, hating on conservatives. So today, you guys, we are going to be reviewing that debate. Before we go ahead and do that, I want you to take the time to support the channel by cash apping me at #RShellBranch. You can find the link in the description box at the top of the YouTube page. Again, support the show by cash apping me at #RShellBranch. You can obviously subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share this video, like this video, just so we can do something about the algorithm. Definitely share. It's a very big thing. I love this show, love the viewers, love the content. I love what I'm doing here. Today, you guys, again, like I said in the opening, we are going to be talking about tariffs, taxes in this debate between Destiny, and I'm sorry, I do not know the gentleman's name on the conservative side. Sad, but Destiny's the one that really kind of drew me to this debate. So let's go ahead and let's talk about it, shall we?
There is something that has been on my heart that I did want to discuss. Discipline is a huge part of being productive, being lucrative. I am not for anything that goes against true productivity, true sovereignty of the individual. The choices that we make are what's going to be up for judgment.
Okay, so you guys know I love my show open. I think you guys enjoy it as well. If you guys are interested in having your own show open, if you are a podcaster yourself, reach out to Matthew Torrance at scoresomemusic.com. He delivered for me. I think he's going to do the same for you. If you're someone who's good with writing lyrics and not the music, definitely reach out to Matthew Torrance at scoresomemusic.com. He asked me what kind of style of music do I like, and he delivered. You ask, you shall receive. Definitely reach out to Matthew Torrance again at scoresomemusic.com. Thank you all, and let's go ahead and let's get into the episode. Okay, you guys. So as I was saying in the open of the show, that we were going to be talking about this debate between Destiny and this gentleman named Tom Wright of the CPA. Now, here's the thing about it. One of the things that I noticed as I started to get into the financial industry is just how illiterate I was as it related to money. And what I found fascinating is that people on the left who are good with making money, they themselves don't know the language of money. If you're a fan of Cody Sanchez, even she would say that money is a language. It's more than just a resource, a tool, but it's the language of money that I think the vast majority of Americans just don't understand. Whether you're talking about how to utilize debt to your benefit, what is the difference between justifiable debt versus unjustifiable debt, how we could use interest to work in our favor, why I think a lot of young Americans specifically do think that interest is a bad thing, because you hear interest, you think it's going to cost you more, as opposed to interest working in your favor where you can earn passive income. And so as you go throughout this debate between Destiny and Tom, it was very respectful. So I was kind of surprised. Again, I do think that this was before the election. Destiny seems to be talking really, really fast. He obviously does this, right? I think he talks fast because he's trying to make it seem as if he's understanding of the subject matter. Now, some things I think he knows, other things I don't think he knows or fully understands why conservatives feel the way that we feel when we talk about the economy, why you saw so many people in droves this time around the election voted for President Trump. Now, why I'm bringing this up today is because as someone who's in the financial industry, who's been having several conversations and meetings talking to people about the importance of investing in insurance, in mutual funds. At the very least, it's important for people to understand how money works. Even if you're not buying a policy from me, why it's important for people to invest. I didn't want to be one of these financial gurus, financial influencers saying, why, hey, you should get the IUL and just roll over your 401k. 401ks are trash. I mean, look, boomers invested a lot of their money into 401ks, but when you look at the rates of investing from young people today and age, guess what? We don't invest at the same rates that the old generation did. So we like to talk trash about what investment opportunities are available to us, but we don't actually do it ourselves. So is it wrong for a young person to have a 401k? I don't know. Now, that's not what the debate was about. Again, they were talking about taxes as it relates to the corporate tax, business taxes, if these things are actually going to be useful enough. And as I was listening to Destiny's side of things, part of me is thinking, how are you a man on YouTube? How are you a influencer, a YouTuber? Clearly, this is your own business. You obviously had to put money into this podcast. You obviously had to invest money in order to get where you are, whether you were boosting ads on social media, paying for the hardware like your cameras, paying for software so that way you can actually produce something that was decent. You had to put money into your YouTube channel just so you have the ability to be monetized and to make money off of this. If you have swag that you sell, then guess what? You had to put some effort into that. Why would you want the federal government or even the state government or both to take the vast majority of what it is that you're actually saying? So before I go ahead and go on and on about what was said, let's just go ahead and run this clip, because again, it was very respectful. He did do very well, I would say, in voicing why Democrats feel about the economy the way that they feel about it. The liberal take on economics versus the conservative take. Conservatives are more so capitalistic, where on the liberal side, they have more socialist economic views. Not to say that they aren't, business wise capitalists, but on the social side of things, more socialist, right? They're socialists because they care. That's kind of the idea there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run parts of this. Let's go ahead and let's do that, shall we?
Intro if you want. I'm assuming most people know who you are, but kind of set the stage on the framework. If you had to framework why Kamala Harris when it comes to the economy and when it comes to taxes.
Yeah, so I think on a really macro perspective, I appreciate the Democrat view at the moment of the economy more than the Republican view of the economy. I feel like the Democrats have a bit more of a realistic understanding of how money works in an economy. And I feel like the Republicans have find a nicer word for delusional view of how money works. We can get as I guess, as wide or as into the weeds as we want on that. On a wide view, it seems like Democrats understand that stimulating the demand side of things is incredibly important, that people need money, people need jobs, and that's as important as having suppliers that can produce goods and services for the economy. On the Republican side, I feel like we're still stuck in this weird supply side econ world where we feel like just giving infinite tax cuts and spending infinitely with no concern for the budget, while also saying we need to have zero debt, seems to be the MO. On a finer
I'm going to pause right here because I'm probably going to fast forward parts of it because his opening statement, again, I think he talks really fast because he's trying to overcompensate for his lack of knowledge, at least on what conservatives actually think about economics and how money works here in the United States. Listen, let's just call a spade. Yes, jobs are a part of how we see the economics in this country. We need jobs. We want more money in the American people's pocket. We want them to have the ability to earn a living. I don't think that we're crazy for wanting that. That's not a delusional view. That is not a sideways thinking. Okay, you earn a living by getting a job, working, investing that money, and earning interest passively by building business. So this is not a delusional sideways thinking view here, okay? We understand that if you have more supply to fill the demand, the price is obviously going to adjust itself. Whenever you have more demand than supply, the price goes up. When you have more supply than demand, the price is going to go down. Now, that's not the only variable that plays a part in the cost of the things that we buy in this country and the things that we engage in this country. There's obviously more to this or other variables. And again, I think he has a warped view. I think he's overcompensating. Why speaking fast? He's overcompensating for his lack of understanding about what conservatives actually think about the economy, because that's spending nonsense. Why do you think that we're okay with the federal government having crazy spending the way that they have it? When we literally got rid of Kevin McCarthy over this, we really decided as America First that we wanted to put people in office who will do something about the spending because the debt got so high. Okay. Conservatives are actually thinking about the debt. We're actually thinking about the cost of living. We're actually thinking about jobs. We're actually thinking about the spending. I mean, come on. So if he's got an issue with the spending, he shouldn't have so much issue with Vivek. I'm gonna let it go on for a bit, but I'm going to fast forward because I really just want to get to the other guy. I want to get to, Tom here, because I think he's just going to have a better view of what conservatives actually think.
First of all,
and so just what's your perspective as it relates to that?
Well, first of all, the first thing to realize is the tax law has become, since John F. Kennedy, primarily a series of incentives, right? And so the tax law acts as incentives for certain activities. And I think, Destiny, you hit it right on the head, is that the Democrats have decided that the incentives need to fall heavily on the consumption side and the consumer side, whereas the Republicans have decided that the incentives need to fall heavily on the investment side. And that is a fact. In fact, that's the primary difference between the two tax proposals is if you look at the Democratic side, they actually want to take down investment and take the money from investors through higher capital gains taxes, through higher corporate tax rates, through higher estate taxes, through eliminating 1031 exchanges. They want to take those dollars and give them to people who would consume those dollars, which I don't have an argument like child tax credit. Are there some good parts of that? Absolutely. On the other hand, I believe that Harris's plan will put a lot of upward pressure on inflation. And I think inflation is the worst tax we have. It is the most regressive tax we have. It hits poor and middle class the most. And if you take $4 to $8 trillion from the investments and you put it into consumption, it's a little like feeding the economy sugar. And while, yes, it will stimulate in the short run, what will it do in the long run? And in the long run, what we saw from the 2020 and 2021, the big stimulus packages, the general public stimulus packages, is we saw this upward pressure, too much money chasing too few goods. And so you have to have this combination of, you've got to have the money in there, but you have to have the goods. And
exactly.
Just this week, there was a report.
Right. So I'm going to leave it there because, at least for that part of it. Well, actually, yeah, I'm going to leave it there for that part of it. What I do want to discuss about just what was talked about in that few bits, right? Let's just look at what was said there. So one of the things that I think as it relates to exactly what Tom was saying, that when you look at the stimulus checks, right? You had all this money out there, but too few goods. A lot more people had a lot more money, and a lot of this money went into consumption. Prices went up because it was the demand that was not being met. There was not enough supply. Therefore, just basic concepts on how this is supposed to function. And so when you do look at those crucial differences between what the Democrats think versus what the Republicans think, and it's clear that this debate took place before the election, that when we're talking about the importance of the economy, why you need to see businesses actually take home their profit margin. Because I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with people on the left who said, oh no, we need to increase wages. Okay, but you're increasing wages, but you're doing absolutely nothing about reducing the cost of production. You're not doing anything about reducing the taxes on some of these businesses. And your debt in the state is still ridiculously high. So you got to get the state out of debt. You still have to fund these programs, right? And what are we supposed to do with this? Exactly. How are business owners supposed to survive this? I mean, we talked about the problems with New York State coming out with the congestion pricing, AKA the congestion tax, just another tax on New Yorkers, on the American people, just so we can find ways to fund the things that need to be taken care of, like public transportation. But what you're not thinking is that you're putting all of the burden on the consumer. And not only are you putting all the burden on the consumer, but you're going to risk jobs. Okay. We can't just be increasing wages and doing absolutely nothing about retaining profit margins for businesses. And by having high corporate taxes, by having high business taxes, this is going to be problematic. Now let's talk about the individual. Okay. Already we've got the income taxes from both the federal and the state. I think these federal income taxes, the state income taxes, I think personal property taxes, I think those things are just an abomination to the United States. I just think it's an abomination. We literally fought a war just so we can make our own decisions. We fought over a 26% tax coming from the British, yet the American people, every individual who's paying taxes, is being taxed way more than that. These taxes are abominable. And the idea that we're going to put up so much more burden on the American people because of inflation, this is why everybody, which you saw with the election, so many people voted for President Trump. Now, it didn't mean that in their local communities, in their states, they weren't voting to secure their abortion rights or other things that they were interested in. It just meant that they were compartmentalizing which jurisdiction does what. The federal government, your job is to protect a hardworking community, a hardworking environment for business owners and for workers. That is your job. You don't create opportunities, okay? The private sector does. Your job is to secure that opportunity. If we create an economy that is business friendly, labor friendly, then you're going to have way more investment into the United States, way more investment into the states itself. Like if my state gets rid of the corporate tax, gets rid of a lot of these taxes that hurt businesses, you'll have way more businesses pouring into the state of Pennsylvania. We saw this happen with South Dakota. We saw this happen with Texas. Dave Ramsey and the state legislature of Tennessee, they worked tirelessly to be able to remove the state income tax. If you listen to the individual of Senator Marsha Blackburn, she talked about how when she worked in the state legislature for Tennessee, that they worked tirelessly day and night getting rid of the state income tax. Now, that's something. In South Dakota, Noem, she got rid of the state income tax. She got rid of personal property taxes. She took a lot of the burden off of the American citizen. And I think I'm not going to actually play any more clips again. I am just going to let that rock for you guys. I'll put the link in the description box for you so that way you have a better full view of what happened in that debate. Clearly, it happened before the election, but this is the kind of understanding that I want people to have when we're talking about money, we're talking about the economy and finances, okay? I really want people to pay attention to what's going on with the economy, what's going on with our policies, especially in your states, working to get rid of those things, because that's what's important here. What's important is that we take the time to educate ourselves on what the budget is. What are you spending the money on? State by state, not just by the federal government. Obviously, we have Vivek and Elon to do those things, but we need to start paying attention to what is going on within the states. Because if Tennessee can get rid of their state income tax, if South Dakota can get rid of their state income tax, okay, if these conservative states can get rid of their income taxes, their state income taxes, then we should be doing those in the states that don't have it. The chance of it happening in New York, I don't know. I'm definitely going to be paying attention more in Pennsylvania, considering my people, one, we got some issues with the Senate. Obviously, Dave McCormick is going to have a battle because of what they've done. People deciding that they're going to break laws to keep him from going into his position as a sitting senator. So we got some issues that we got to deal with. Now, as far as state legislature goes, I want to see something done. Josh Shapiro was still the governor of Pennsylvania, and he's a Democrat. He was considered to be the VP pick, for goodness sakes, but he's a moderate. I don't see him saying no to eradicating the state income tax if it means helping the elderly, helping young people, putting investment to the necessities of our survival as American citizens. We need housing. Young people are tired of living with their parents. Parents are tired of their kids living with them. If you get SSI, disability, wouldn't you like for that to not be a taxable income? Wouldn't that be great? If you're someone who's retired and you're receiving your 401k monthly payouts, wouldn't you like for that not to be taxed every single time? Wouldn't that be nice? It'd be great. That every time you did go back out to work as a young person, as an elderly person who was not able to stay retired, that when you got that money taxed, that your state wasn't taxing you. That if you own your house, you don't have to pay a personal property tax. That if you are a business, you are given the incentive to invest more into your community, into your state, because you don't have this outrageous corporate tax. You don't have this outrageous business tax. Okay? We got to start thinking about those things. If you are an entrepreneur, you're watching this video, you're watching this channel, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, it doesn't matter if you're a conservative, you literally could be a socialist, okay? You could be a socialist. One of the things that we understand about the United States, we are a capitalist country with socialist-like programs. If you feel like you want to help somebody out, donate your own money. You don't have to have the government take it from you, because as we've seen, they're not even trying to take care of the American people, okay? You give your money, not even give, they take your money so they can give it to studies about drunk fish and monkeys gambling and whether or not helmets and seatbelts are safe in Ghana, rather than ensuring that the war on poverty is won. I am curious to see what Trump does about this. You guys let me know. Again, you can subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can share this video, like this video, but definitely share, okay? Share as much as you possibly can. Let's do something about this YouTube channel, trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the time we get into the new year. Very excited to see what we could do with this channel, talking about money, talking about the economy, talking about the galvanization of young people's spirit, the entrepreneur spirit. That's what I'm excited about. That's what we talk about on this channel. Of course, other things, but that's really what it is. And because we are a little business here, you can support the channel at #RShellBranch. Again, you can support the show by Cash Apping me at #RShellBranch. The link is in the description at the top of the YouTube channel. Just scroll up, hit the link, and takes you right over there. Thank you all again for watching. You can follow me on Twitter at Archie_finance, and you can follow me on Instagram at ArchieFinancial. Again, this is Archie Briefings. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what we doing moving forward. You guys, again, get in the comment sections. Let me know what you think. You all have a good night. God bless, and Kepla.